Welcome. My name is Colleen Bratkovich. I'm an attorney with the elder law firm of Zachariah Brown. Zachariah Brown is a boutique elder law firm located in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And today the presentation is, what are the options to keep my loved one safely at home? My goals for today are to discuss with you Medicaid waiver programs for home and community-based care, strategies for reducing excess resources when applying for Medicaid, VA resources, aid in attendance and VA healthcare, housing and living arrangements, outlining caregiver duties, providing for personal care, social needs, and transportation, ensuring proper nutrition and medical care, unique considerations and common pitfalls in family caregiver arrangements, and sample caregiver agreement review. The reason this is important is, at the end of the day, we all would prefer to be cared for at home. In addition, we would prefer to take care of our loved ones at home if we're able to accomplish that. But with the government programs, the rules as they exist, it can be difficult to navigate what's the best way to try to help our family member stay at home in the community. So first, we're going to start talking about payment options for long-term care at home. So if we have a loved one who we are trying to keep at home, how are we going to pay for it? Okay, so now somebody can be living in what's called independent living. Okay, it's often still in a facility, but they can be receiving government-provided services and supports for long-term care at home because that is their home. Okay, so independent living. Now, the rent itself is typically private pay, and that would be the same as if you're paying a mortgage or even living in a paid-off home, keeping up your property taxes, homeowners insurance, the regular utilities and other expenses that you do have in keeping up your home. Individuals may move into assisted living, personal care, memory care communities. There are options for private pay, also getting money from the VA, and long-term care insurance. Now, an individual who's living in assisted living or personal care or memory care typically is not receiving what we would refer to as at-home care. Although that may be their home, that would be considered to be facility or institutional care. At-home care, while, as I mentioned, it could be part of independent living, is typically in the original residence or perhaps in a child's residence if the individual requires more supports, but they are living in their home. The ways that we're going to pay are private pay. So that can be that we are private paying for a caregiver agency, we are private paying an individual caregiver, we are paying for a family member to take care of us. Long-term care insurance does have its place, so I won't talk much about it. I don't sell long-term care insurance, and I don't really particularly go out and advocate for it either. If an individual or a client has long-term care insurance, it's always going to be a benefit. It's going to help us in stretching our healthcare dollar. But traditional long-term care insurance typically has shortfalls. There's typically an exclusion period on the front end where the monetary benefit is not going to kick in for a certain period of days or months, or be triggered by some other indication. A doctor needs to certify they need help with 2 activities of daily living, or there's some other trigger that's going to allow that policy to kick in. It typically is not going to cover the cost of care in full. There's probably a $100 a day limit, or there might be a 3-year limit, or there could be a specific dollar figure. Once it pays out $100,000, the policy is ended. And families, I think, struggle too with when to take long-term care insurance because sometimes they are afraid of taking the long-term care insurance benefit when the individual is at home because the cost is lower, thinking that, well, they'll save it for when the individual moves into a nursing home later and it's more expensive. But in some cases, when the individual moves into the nursing home later, they're already eligible for Medicaid, or they're close to being eligible for Medicaid, and they really won't have any value to their long-term care policy that they paid into for so many years. So it's definitely part of the discussion. It's going to be helpful if clients have had it and they can continue to afford it. And if they qualify to make a claim, that might be the time to do it. Now, not everybody's long-term care policy is going to provide for home care, but that is an available option for some folks. Okay. I'm going to talk about the LIFE program, or it's referred to federally as the PACE program. In Pennsylvania, where I practice, we already had a PACE program for prescription assistance for seniors, so we call it LIFE here, and I'll talk about that. And the Aging Waiver Program, or the Medicaid Waiver Program, to provide help to individuals under the Medicaid program in their homes. Okay. And we'll talk today too about veterans benefit eligibility. Again, the VA benefit, there's healthcare benefits, there's cash benefits, and it all can be part of our plan to try to help an individual stay at home longer.